The first month proved I could lose the weight. The next 2 months tested whether I could keep going. Following the experience and results of the first 30 days, I became more determined to continue the journey. I also became more realistic and understood that, in the beginning, everything feels new and motivating, but it would not last forever. I knew that weight loss might slow down. I knew the scale might fluctuate. So before starting month 2, I made a decision. The next 2 months would not be about numbers. They would be about building discipline and resilience. I told myself that if I focused too much on the scale, I might give up. And honestly, the fluctuations had already begun. Some mornings the number went down. Other mornings it went up for no clear reason. Instead of reacting emotionally, I decided to treat this phase as training, both physical and mental. I continued with the lifestyle changes I had started. I worked out between 40 to 60 minutes most days. I kept aiming for my daily step goal, and alcohol was still completely off my plan. I cannot say this phase was smooth. As my activity level increased, my appetite increased too. This is actually a normal response when you move more. Your body uses more energy, and hormones that regulate hunger can signal you to refuel. So instead of reduced cravings I felt in month 1, I now had days where I felt genuinely hungry. And I had to learn the difference between real hunger and just wanting to eat. Some days, staying within my 1900 calorie limit felt easy. Other days, especially after longer walks or strength workouts, I was much hungrier. When that happened, I chose not to panic or punish myself. If I needed to eat more, I ate. But I focused on whole, home-cooked foods rather than processed snacks. My rule became simple. Feed the body, don't fight it. At the same time, I did experience cravings for sweet things, not because I needed sugar, but because my body was adjusting to a new routine and energy demand. Instead of going back to old habits, I managed those cravings in controlled ways. Sometimes I had fruit, sometimes I had a diet soda, sometimes some dark chocolate, sometimes flavored baobab seeds, and like that. These were not everyday indulgences, but they helped me stay consistent without feeling deprived. I understood that sustainability matters more than perfection. About 90% of meals were still clean, simple, home-cooked foods. I also became more careful with my workouts. In the excitement of month 1, it's easy to want to do everything, but by month 2, I realized that avoiding injury was just as important as exercising. So I reduced movements that involved too much jumping or strain. I focused more on controlled strength training and steady cardio. At the start, I used 2 kg and 5 kg dumbbells. As my strength improved, I gradually progressed to 7.5 kilograms. That progression wasn't about pushing hard. It was about allowing my body to adapt slowly. During this month, I started paying more closer attention to what my body was telling me. I learned to distinguish the discomfort of muscles getting stronger from the warning signs of possible injury, the signal of true hunger from the habit of eating out of routine, and energy from exhaustion. I also paid attention to how different foods affected me physically. I noticed which meals left me feeling satisfied and energized, and which ones caused discomfort, bloating, or triggered my gastric symptoms. Because I have a history of stomach sensitivity, I had to be mindful not just of calories, but of how my digestive system reacted. This became less of a diet and more of a process of studying my own body. Another important focus during this month was recovery. I tried to manage stress through walking, quiet time, and better sleep. I aimed for around 8 hours of sleep each night. Not always perfectly, but consistently trying. Sleep plays a major role in how the body regulates hunger, energy, and recovery. So I treated rest as part of the program, not something separate from it. What I learned during this phase was that progress did not always look like weight loss. Sometimes progress looked like having the energy to complete a workout even when I didn't feel like starting, choosing to cook instead of ordering food, stopping when I was full instead of finishing everything automatically, lifting a weight that had felt heavy just weeks before, sleeping better, feeling calmer. These were not dramatic transformations, but they were real changes. And this is where I understood something important. Month 1 showed me that change was possible. Month 2 and 3 taught me how to live that change. There were no exciting before and after moments during this time. No sudden breakthroughs, just repetition, just showing up again and again. And that repetition, although sometimes boring, is what started building confidence. Not confidence from appearance, but confidence from keeping promises to myself. By the end of the 3rd month, I realized that I was no longer relying on motivation. I was relying on routine. Motivation comes and goes. Routine stays. These months were not about speed. They were about stability. Not about chasing results, but about becoming the kind of person who continues even when results slow down. If you are in this phase of your own journey, where things feel slower or less exciting, it does not mean something is wrong. It may simply mean you have moved past the beginning and into the part where real change is built. If you haven't watched how much progress I made in the first 30 days and what changes I made to fix my health, please watch the video links in the description or on this screen to get the full picture. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. And wherever you are in your journey, don't stop trying. Take care.